You're listening to the Platform Launchers podcast, where we talk about building, growing, and monetizing your online platform. I'm John Stange, and it's great to have you with us again this week. And this week, we're going to be talking about what I call creating an irresistible offer by identifying what people genuinely need. And this is a subject that I think is really useful, and it's really practical, and it's something that I'm actually going to give you 4 things that go into an irresistible offer. But I'm going to wait a minute to do that, because first up, I want to introduce you to a few of the people in our members club who had some special wins this week. And the first one is Phil Whitebloom. So Phil, tell us about what you're doing and give your platform a nice plug.
Hi, John. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm with Been There Consulting Services is the name of my company, and it's a sales coaching business. And as a sales coaching business, how does that differentiate from a sales training business? Well, coaching includes training, but coaching is in the moment, in real time. So we do training as a part of it, but we deal with owners of companies and businesses. They want their salespeople and their businesses to generate revenue now. So if we're just doing the sales training program, they have to wait to see what could they use that they could help with, and what's the timeline. We jump in right away and we help them to make sales now while teaching them the process.
Excellent. And you just got a new website up and running. Can you give us a plug for that?
Yeah, thank you. It's Been There CS as in consulting services. So BeenThereCS.com, and very excited about it. The new website just launched at the end of last week, and that's going to be the platform that the workshops and the book and the courses and the newsletters are all going to flow from that website. So it's very exciting, and thank you for letting me talk about that. I also, have something that I've got a teaming partner in Brianna Henley, who's coming up. You're going to introduce her in a second. I'll let her talk about what we're going to be doing later this week and moving forward.
Awesome. Well, that's a perfect introduction. Good segue. Brianna Henley, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to.
Sure. I'm Brianna Henley. I have a business coaching company called Achieving Coaching, and I provide the GPS to your business success, helping small and medium-sized businesses focus on tools, systems, and processes around time, team, and money, so they can fit all the things that they want to do in, and again, grow their profits and still have time for their family and things that are important to them. So what Phil and I are going to be doing, we are going to be doing a podcast together called Been There, Sold That. And the premise of that is going from taking your prospects and moving them into profits. So working with, again, and talking about the struggles that small and medium-sized businesses and the owners have in working their leads from the beginning and walking them through and developing an internal operational process, so they can go from a lead to a happy customer to a returning customer, and that you can execute the process over and over again. So
I love it. And what's the website where people can find it?
It's going to, right now, it's just going to be on Been There Sales Consulting, and we're going to be starting a YouTube channel for this. So,
excellent.
So stay tuned for that.
All right. Well, your personal website for Achieving Coaching.
AchievingCoaching.com.
Love it. Very cool. Your GPS for your business success. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
I like that. I like that. That's clever. Thank you guys for sharing that. I appreciate that. So in just a moment here, I'm going to give you some details related to irresistible offers and identifying things that people need from you when you're actually trying to serve a particular audience. Now, let me give you a little bit of background on what this looks like. And I'll even tell you a little bit about myself and some of my shopping preferences here. And by the way, my shopping preferences are extremely boring, because I am not someone who does a lot of shopping for things. I don't really enjoy shopping for things very often. Some things, but not too many things. But I'm more than happy to pay for experiences and opportunities to expand my knowledge. Those are things that I'm willing to pay money for, and that's something that I very much enjoy. Now, to do that, I regularly buy books, I take classes, I join groups, I take my family on trips to places that we enjoy visiting. In fact, we just returned yesterday from a several-day visit to Florida, which is one of my absolute favorite places to go. We live here in Pennsylvania. And years ago, we started making some of those regular visits to Florida that we've been doing year after year. And the first year we went, we didn't really know what we were doing. I remember saying to my wife, Andrea, I said, you know what? I just want to take a trip. I just want to go down there. It's something we haven't really done. And I always enjoyed visiting Florida when I was a kid. And it's especially nice when Pennsylvania winters are cold. And so I said, let's do it. She said, all right. And so I rented a very modest hotel room for us and for our 4 children who were all under age 6 at the time. So just imagine 4 children under age 6 in a very modest hotel room. And we had a very lovely time. It wasn't really the quietest of accommodations, but it worked out for us. But the following year, I thought, all right, we've done this once. I want to do it a little bit better next time. The following year, I decided to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to see if I could find bigger and better accommodations to suit our family while sticking to our budget. I wanted to see if it was possible, and so I started looking for different options. And while I was searching, I found a 4-bedroom townhouse. It was for rent in a gated community. It had its own water park. The water park had a lazy river. The pictures looked awesome. I thought it was going to be great, a very most excellent option, right? And so I called them up. I inquired. I found out that it was the first time that this townhouse had been offered, and the owners were willing to make it available at a bargain rate in order to build up a client base. That's what they were deciding to do as far as their business strategy. And they said that for a full week, we could rent it for $550. And I thought, wow, that's a fantastic deal for a beautiful townhouse, 4 bedrooms. I think it was 3 bathrooms in this gated community, water park, lazy river, all these things, $550. And on top of that, they said they would throw in another week that I could use anytime I wanted within the next 12 months. And I thought, wow, we could come back for a second vacation and not have to pay anything additional that second time other than the cost of our travel. But then I started thinking, I thought, well, now, wait a second. I wonder what they would say to this. And so out of curiosity, I asked them a question. And I said, well, is it possible for me to use that second free week right after I used the initial week that I paid for? And they said yes. And so for $550, we rented a beautiful townhouse in an amenity-filled community for half a month. That was an offer that was so good, I could not imagine turning it down. We jumped on it. I have never found that good of an offer ever again when renting a place for vacation. And it was one of our favorite family vacations. It was one we took back in 2008, and we loved it. And I bring that up because it's the perfect example to illustrate something that I want to talk about related to our online platforms. So the question I'll ask is this: as you're building your online platform, have you ever considered making an offering or, an option like that available? Is that something that you've made available to somebody? And I'm talking about an offer that is so, so good that people would be silly for ignoring it. They just couldn't ignore it because it's just so valuable, so good. Now, several months ago, I was talking with some entrepreneurs that I'm friends with. They have an online presence, but they aren't really earning as much from it as they would like. And I wondered why. And so I asked a couple questions. I said, all right, first of all, do you have anything for sale on your website? And then the second question I asked was, is there a button that a visitor could press to make a purchase? And they answered to those questions the same answer. They said, no, we don't have that. And then they said, they won't offer. And their uncertainty seemed to be keeping from turning idea income, platform, paycheck, 2 things that we about do in platforms. And so as I illustrated in the Florida I took my family years ago, some are too refused going to be with our offices long term and even short term providers that's selling in irresistible story. But what are these characteristics that that describe an irresistible offer. What really goes into it? I mentioned a few minutes ago that I think there are 4 things that go into making an irresistible offer that can help fund your online platform. And I'll share these categories or characteristics, if I could get that word out of my mouth. And then I'm going to elaborate on them just a little bit here. I'm just going to give you all 4 right off the bat, and then I'm going to take them one at a time and give you a little bit more detail about what I mean by them. But the 4 characteristics that I think go into making an irresistible offer on your website, in your platform, are these. Number 1, it solves an obvious problem. And I'm going to elaborate on these in a second. So number 1, it solves an obvious problem. Number 2, it connects with an emotional desire or aspiration. Number 3, it costs less than the value it provides. And number 4, it saves time. So just think about those. It solves an obvious problem. It connects with an emotional desire or aspiration. It costs less than the value it provides, and it saves time. Let's take them one at a time. Number 1, it solves an obvious problem. So think about the people you're trying to serve and the problems that they want your help with. What do they typically ask you to do? Why do they come to you for help? What problem is frustrating them that you enjoy attempting to help them solve? If you can figure out what that problem happens to be, you can create a product or a service that helps solve it. And if you don't identify the problem, you're going to find yourself spinning your wheels in frustration. But if you do identify the problem, if you notice a pattern, something that they keep asking you for help with, and you figure out either a service or a product that can help solve that problem, you're well on your way to creating an irresistible offer. All right, the second thing that a good irresistible offer does is that it connects with an emotional desire or an aspiration. Now, let me explain what I mean by this one. I don't know if you consider yourself an overly emotional person or if you consider yourself someone that's more stoic and you keep your emotions to yourself, but it's been said that most of the elective or optional purchases that we make over the course of our lifetime are purchases that we're making for emotional reasons. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that observation. When I think about the purchases that I make for things other than like food or shelter or utilities, I think there's a level of emotion involved in those decisions. So when you think about what you're offering, what emotions should you be highlighting in your offer? Or have you identified a specific emotional benefit that someone might receive from purchasing the product or the solution that you've created? Let me give you some examples. Will it save them time? Or will it reduce their pain? Will it bring happiness to their spouse or their children? Will it ease their financial burden? Will it take something that's been weighing them down and lift them up from it? I want you to just take a moment to figure that out, because that's why most people make purchasing decisions for items that aren't absolute necessities. They're doing this because there's some sort of an emotional desire or an aspiration that they're thinking about. So if you create something that connects with that emotional desire or connects with that aspiration, you're well on your way toward making a sale. All right, third thing that I think goes into making an irresistible offer, and that's this. And this is one that some people might even argue is the biggie. I don't necessarily think it's the biggie, but it's certainly big. And that's that it costs less than the value it provides. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let me give you an example. And this is something that happened to me very, very recently. Each month, if you've been listening to the podcast or if you've been watching us on YouTube, or those of us that are live on the call here know that this is our pattern, that each month, once a month, we bring on guest experts for our Tuesday night training calls. And it's a lot of fun. We hear from people that have been highly accomplished in a variety of disciplines. And one of the guest experts that we recently hosted is someone that I would put in the category of one of the most successful entrepreneurs I have ever met. She is well known. She earns a high income, and she understands what it's like to deliver value to a client base. All these things are true of her. And she told me that she loved the time that she had the opportunity to spend with our members club. And she actually went on to talk about it at length for over a week. Every time I talked to her during the course of the following week, after she was a guest expert for our members club, I heard her talk about it. Several times that week, she reached out to me. She even sent me a card in the mail to tell me how much she enjoyed the experience. And then she took a look through the Platform Launchers website. She was looking at all the different things we do and all the different things that we offer. And she said this to me, and I think I'm quoting her essentially verbatim. If not, I think this is 99% accurate for what she said. But she said, "I can't believe how much value you're willing to offer for such a low price. People would be silly to pass that up." That's what she said. Now, I'll tell you something about what's going on in my mind when I hear a statement like that. That's exactly the response that I hoped someone of her caliber would give me. And I was highly encouraged by what she said, because that's honestly the goal of every single offer I've ever put together. I want it to cost far less than the value it provides. I want it to be so valuable that people wonder if I'm bad with numbers for pricing it so reasonably. And if you're trying to create an irresistible offer, when you're thinking about your platform, what I hope you'll do is that you'll plan to over deliver on value and undercharge on price. Now, I'm not saying make something ridiculously cheap to the point where you're hurting yourself or hurting your business. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that based on what it's actually worth, the price that you're charging seems like a bargain. And something else that I'd encourage you to consider, you might want to stand behind what you offer with a money back guarantee. I never hesitate to do that. I never worry about offering that when I'm confident that what I'm sharing has genuine value far beyond the sticker price. If I'm offering something and I'm confident of that, I don't mind saying, look, I'll stand behind this with a money back guarantee. Either it delivers on what I said it was going to deliver, or if you don't like it for some reason, just let me know, complete refund. You don't even have to give me the reason. But the idea is that you want it to cost less. Whatever you're offering in your irresistible offer, you want it to cost less than the value it provides. And then the fourth reason, and this is a biggie as well, it saves time. So when you think about why people buy many informational products or things in that category, people buy these things because those products save them time and help them achieve what they're aspiring to do in far less time than if they didn't have access to the training or the service or the product that they can get from you. So how can just be thinking about this as you're trying to put some of these things together? How can your knowledge and your experience save someone time? What could you digitally deliver that could shave months or years off the learning curve for some of your potential clients? One of the main reasons that I personally pay for coaching and for groups and for courses is to save me time. I've learned that there's a lot of value in that. I've learned that if I save myself time, I'm also at the same time saving myself money. I've learned the gradual and slow way that it's often worth the investment to speed up the learning process. When I was first getting into online business creation and platform development, I really didn't want to pay for anything. And if I'm really honest, I really didn't have the budget to pay for a whole lot at that point either. But once I started generating some income with what I was doing online, one of the first things that I decided to spend money on was my own learning, my own education. I wanted to speed up the process. So if you create offers that save your clients time, they're going to be highly appreciative. And I think they're going to utilize more regularly the things that you're putting out there, the services, the products, the opportunities, even access to you. I think that that's going to become something that helps make what you're doing irresistible. So as we wrap this up this week, let me just say this. Take a look at your website and just answer this question to yourself. Do you see any irresistible offers in place? And I'm talking about offers that solve obvious problems, offers that connect with emotional desires and aspirations, offers that cost less than the value they provide, and offers that save people time and work kind of quickly. Think about that. Hopefully that's something you can identify on your website with what you're creating, with what you're offering. Because if your goal is to turn your passion into a platform that supplies you with a paycheck, it might be time to put together an irresistible offer, especially if you don't have one up there. Think about this metric, think about these categories, and get something up on your website. And let's see what results from that. A lot of times we find ourselves not earning what we could earn because we don't give ourselves the opportunity to earn by giving people the opportunity to pay for something that we're taking the time to create. So just think about that, put your offers together using that metric, and I think that you'll find it immensely helpful. Now, I have a couple things coming up that I want to highlight before we finish up our podcast for this week. This week is the first week of our next 8-week course. I'm going to be teaching a course called How to Earn $250 per day with your online platform. You could find out more about that on the university page at platformlaunchers.com. If you choose to sign up for that, it starts this week, Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. If you sign up for that, use the code EARLYBIRD, and it's going to save you a considerable amount off the tuition. So check that out. You can find that on the university page of platformlaunchers.com. But we have an 8-week course coming up called How to Earn $250 a Day from Your Online Platform. This is basically the exact system I used to build my platform up to that level of daily income. It's not something that's an overnight thing. It is a gradual thing, but it's something that if you use this metric, I am certain it'll work for you if you follow the instruction that I give and you're consistent to actually follow through on the things that are recommended here. And here's another thing, so that you could say I'm standing up to promises that I've made. If you pay for this course and take this course and follow through on the things that I recommend there, and you say, you know what, it didn't work for me, just let me know. 100% guarantee that it'll work. And if it doesn't work for you, just let me know. I'll refund your tuition. No questions asked. But you can find out more about that at platformlaunchers.com/university. And one last thing, if you're ever interested in joining us for our members club, we have our Tuesday night training calls. We have our online community. We have a lot of fun things that we do together. And you're welcome to take a 14-day test drive at platformlaunchers.com. And you can try it out. You can interact with our members. You can join us for a couple live calls, see if this would be a good fit for you and for the online platform that you're looking to build. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the fact that what we're doing with our platforms is basically we're taking a platform we're taking a passion, right? So think about something that you're passionate about. We're turning it into a platform, and from that platform, we're deriving a paycheck. Those 3 form paycheck, that's what we're trying to teach each of you, people. And we want you to be one of those success stories as well. So stop by platformlaunchers.com, take the 14-day test drive, and give us the opportunity to interact with you. You'll get immediate access to our online video library, and we hope you find it helpful on day one. But that's it for us this week. Thank you again for tuning in each and every week. We're grateful to have you here as a podcast listener or a viewer on YouTube, and we look forward to catching up with you again right here next time. Take care.